Yeah, obviously it's the biggest meeting around the world, and to be able to give him the opportunity to go over there and ride for Hong Kong, it's a very good honour. When I first started riding him, he was just coming back from when he broke down over in England, and obviously it took him a season to get his confidence back and get back racing well, and he went over there last year and ran a very big race. He was a little bit unfortunate out of the barriers, but you know, the horse goes over there and really thrives, so hopefully he can continue doing that.
10th year has got up to be joy and fun.
Spoke to Derek a couple of times briefly and said the horse has settled in well.
Australian jockey Ty Anglin, based in Hong Kong, has one of the biggest opportunities of his career in Dubai tomorrow night when he lines up in the Group 1 Alcor Sprint on Joy and Fun, who's no stranger to Dubai, the horse having campaigned there on 2 occasions in the past and won. Eagle Regiment, the other Hong Kong representative, will talk more about him shortly. There's been a lot of concern about whether or not he's going to make it to the post tomorrow night. At this stage, he is expected to do so. Russian Soul Star Spangled Banner, who was retired to stud by Coolmore and failed there. He's back in work now and running tomorrow night in Dubai. Joy and Fun, Ty Anglin's ride, of course, and the rest of the field there made up by the likes of Medicean Man and also Soul Power, the Johnny Murtagh ride. And Zach Purton riding Mr. Big.
There's a lot of interest in this race. Joy and Fun, it's expected to be his last race before retirement. He's done a sensational job, as you mentioned, Joe. 3rd time to Dubai, so no stranger to the surrounds. But Eagle Regiment, boy, last year we were talking about this horse coming out. He was scratched because of lameness to a back foreleg. This time he's thrown a shoe, and that's affected his near fore hoof. We know how good he is down the straight. He's only been beaten 3 times in Hong Kong down the straight, and that was into 2nd. He's won 2 Group 1s, the Group 1s, the Kent and Kerwin, the 2 Group 1s in a row, 2 years in a row, I should say. If he's right, then he's right up to winning the race, but therein lies the query.
Yeah, I've left him out for that reason. I think when you have to go to Dubai, you're up against all these international horses. Everything has to go right. You got to have everything go right. You need luck in the running. You need luck in quarantine, luck in the travel, and with his hoof problems. I mean, look, I hope he wins. You know, don't get me wrong, but I just think that with the setback, it's going to make it very, very difficult for him.
It's just difficult trying to measure the significance of the problem because he was inspected on Wednesday morning and they're prepared to give him time, and they've poulticed the hoof and they've tried to treat the hoof. Obviously they can't medicate it this close to race day, but to me, if he comes right and he's cleared to start, which is still a little bit iffy, but if he is cleared to start, I'm prepared to take a punt that he could run a race.
As you would. Well, let's hope he lines up, and if he does, he runs up to his very best Eagle Regiment. Sure. This is the horse that he's going to have to beat, though, a horse by the name of Shay Shay, who burst onto the scene with a stunning win at the Dubai World Cup preview meeting.
Look at the acceleration here, down the grandstand side. A number of other horses in this race, the likes of Soul Power, Soul Russian, Rock Spirit, Quartz, that he absolutely smoked.
Exactly. Well, Soul Power ran 2nd in this race last year, and the way he won this was just amazing. And Mike de Kock's got 13 runners, and he said that this is his one. This is the one he thinks he'll win the race with, win one of the races with. So this is a stable start. It's even money overseas, and you can see why on that performance. I think it'd be very, very hard to beat.
He's drawn sort of the middle barrier, which is advantageous. Christophe Soumillon will be able to pick exactly where he wants to go. Sure. And if Eagle Regiment does start, he has to start from the inside draw closest to the rail, which may not be as disadvantageous as what you may think. Last year, when the rail was thrown back into the true position for this meeting, the inside wasn't completely disadvantaged compared to the outside. There you saw them in the trial day go to the outside fence, but I don't think they'll be going anywhere near that come Saturday night. Okay.
So Shay Shay, the one to beat, so what are the likely dangers?
Well, I think Soul Power can run a good race. I think it was fresh up. There's more to come from him, so I think he can. I think that's the form race. I think it'll be the Quinella again. The one I quite like is Duck Scholar. I think because he comes off the pace with these Americans in the race, they're gonna set up a strong pace, and Duck Scholar can. I think here we got here on screen now, as you can see him coming down the outside, owned by our friend the president of Techner. And
he might be your friend, he's not mine.
And he's coming down the outside there. And look, if there's too much pace in the race, they go too hard. I think he's the one that's going to be finishing fast.
How about a horse like Great Attack or Zach Purton's mount, Mr. Big from Singapore, who's evidently had quite a good preparation?
He has. No, he hasn't raced for a while. He's got blinkers on, Mr.
Well
Big.
trialled, isn't he?
Very well trialled, and he trialled and he was about one and a half seconds faster than any other horse on the night. So he's definitely ready and fit to go. So you know, Michael Friedman's got him spot on for this race. Great Attack as well. You know, he's 25 to 1 in the overseas market, and he won at Churchill Downs before, but he's an outsider, I see.
Okay, that's the Group 1 Alcor Sprint. Run over 1,000 metres on the turf tomorrow night in Dubai with US $1 million in prize money on offer. Shay, I think, is the hardest to beat in the race after that very good win, which we've seen now. He's my top selection. What about you guys?
Same, yeah. I think even Jason will go for him.
The funds in the minor placings.
Yeah, I've gone Shay. I won Soul Power to run second. Last year's runner-up again. I think it'll be the bridesmaid again. And as I said, Duck Scholar for third.
If Eagle Regiment starts, if vets say he's okay, if Manfred Mann is happy, then I'm happy to consider betting him, because last time I looked internationally he was around $7. Shay was, as Paul mentioned, even money, maybe a tick over even money. So I don't know that at their best there's that much between them, but you're rolling the dice to say that he's going to be at his best with a super problem.
Okay. Well, the Group 1 sprint feature run on the Tapeta is the Dubai Golden Shaheen. And again, Hong Kong with representation here. Frederick Engels, who looks a super chance of giving trainer John Moore his first Group 1 win outside of Hong Kong, with Wei Xiong Mawing taking the ride as always. Rest of the field there includes Ronaldo the Wizard, a last start winner in Dubai, Mental, the former Australian trained galloper who's hit his straps since hitting the Middle East, and the other runners there also include Krypton Factor. Will be looking for him to improve on his most recent performance.
Mental's the favourite for the race, around 2 to 1, the former Australian, who was very impressive in a lead-up run to the Golden Shaheen. Paul, you've got a couple of other horses in the mix as well, like Ronaldo the Wizard and last year's winner Krypton Factor. And Frederick Engels drawn ideally on the inside.
He has. He's drawn very well. And yeah, Mental won fresh up here and he won very well. But an interesting stat is the trainer of Mental, he's had 10 winners in Meydan this year. 9 of them have been fresh up horses. So his horses haven't really gone on. So if there's a little chink in Mental's armour, it could be that. So yeah, I just wonder about it. I mean, we saw the Australians come across last year with big reputations, and which they unfortunately couldn't go on with. And the one I quite like is Gordon Lord Byron. You know, the horse that came and ran fourth here at Ambitious Dragon. I mean, it was over a mile. This is 1,200. Ideally, you'd want 1,400, but if there's a strong pace again with these Americans in it, then he could go a really good race.
Frederick Engels has been knocking on the door of Group 1 success here in Hong Kong. Will he get his first Group 1 in Dubai? Let's hear from his trainer, John Moore.
Well, I'm very keen on his chances because I really believe that this surface will really suit him. He's a very short, actioned horse, and for that reason, I think it'll be ideal. He travelled very well. There were no hiccups whatsoever, not a mark on him. Like all horses coming to the country, they're going to shed a bit of weight, but he's eaten up very well since arriving, and I can see him by the time race day comes along, his weight will be pretty well back to what it was in Hong Kong when he's the same as weight when he had his 2 seconds to Lucky 9.
So you're making positive noises. You say a short actioned horse, but this surface is slightly different. So what that confidence, what you've seen, is a justified one?
It's justified, and also when my riding boy rode him this morning, who was a jockey in New Zealand before, his comment when he came back from his light work this morning was straight away that he just loved the surface, he bounced off it.
Well, and that's the key. So where do you rate his chances? Because obviously in a race like this, you've got horses from all all around the world. Where do you see him in the sort of step ladder?
Okay, well, I wouldn't have brought him here unless I thought he could win. I think he's the ideal horse, and as I said, I don't see the surface as being a problem. I've been told by the owner that the horse drew gate 1, which is the best marble, the best gate, and that's a big bonus. I've been told by some people that there's a lot of speed in the race, and this horse will be ridden much closer, because I know the race tactics required to give the horse best possible chance. As the next few days go along, we'll get to see how he does, and then we'll sort of weigh up the pros and cons with respect to his chances.
John Moore quite buoyant about the hopes of Frederick Engels, who looks to have settled in very well to Dubai, as has Mental, formerly trained by Peter Snowden in Sydney. This son of Lonhro has had the one start there for one win and was very impressive.
Yeah, the El Shindaga, this is the replay of it. A couple of other horses that we've highlighted, Belmont Mask, Krypton Factor. Mental is just inside Krypton Factor and the Godolphin Blue and hits the line strongly.
He does, he won really, really well. As you can see, he's hit the lead here and he just runs away, so it was a good run. Sepoy
last year didn't seem to handle the surface and things went wrong, and this horse has copped it. So how significant do you think that is for a good performance on World Cup night? I think so, you know, I think he's going to run a very good race. I mean, Sepoy was the hype horse last year, wasn't he? And he went, I think he might have even started odds on here in Hong Kong, and it was disappointing. So I'm sure they want to redeem themselves, and they've got the right horse here in Mental. Okay, so that's Mental for Godolphin, who have stronghold on the race in terms of numbers. Yeah, they do. We get a little bit of a line through Krypton Factor, Mental beating Krypton Factor rather, and we saw a horse, Reynaldo the Wizard, where the blinkers again, and in the Mahab El Shamal put Krypton Factor away. This was pretty impressive. I don't want to be underestimating the strength of this win, because last year we saw Krypton Factor doing a similar thing in the lead-ups, be very impressive in this race, and then go on and bolt in the Golden Shaheen. Last two starts with blinkers, and he's dominated races. I don't want to be completely ruling a line through Reynaldo the Wizard, given that Mental didn't beat Krypton Factor sort of any less or more impressively than Reynaldo the Wizard did. The reservation is that it's probably somewhat of an afterthought to run Reynaldo the Wizard in this Group 1. But on the authority of that win, why not have a shot at it? They have a go, don't they? Yeah, definitely have a go, yeah. Without knowing whether he's gone backwards in work, I suppose that is a little bit of a tough... Krypton Factor looking a little bit disappointing this campaign, compared, you know, we've seen him go so well in the past. I just think he's, well, I don't know, he just looks doesn't look like the same horse as last year. Okay. He was flat in Singapore and he hasn't done much since. No, he hasn't. Up to the level that he did last year. Exactly. Okay. Not to the Krypton Factor of old, but Mental is the horse that has emerged in Dubai, and I think he can win his first at Group 1 there tomorrow night in the Dubai Golden Shaheen, run over 1,200 metres on the Peter surface. This race worth a US $2 million in prize money. It's not bad, is it? You'd like to have a horse that could do that. So I've got one reservation against Mental. And that's from the draw, he's probably going to get back. Yeah. And that sometimes on that surface it's really hard to make ground. Yeah. We saw Lucky 9 last year from a wide draw, you know. Yeah. So I went Gordon Lord Byron. He won a 3-runner race at Dundalk on the all-weather, so I think he's a good horse, and Hong Kongers know him. I've got Mental in for second, and fingers crossed for a good run from Frederick Engels for third. Gordon Lord Byron, Joe's around $5, I think, overseas. Mental, as we talked about, 2-1. Frederick Engels, the real value. He's double figures. I'd be surprised whether he's double figures in Hong Kong. I've gone for Triniberg, though, the horse that helped set up a madcap tempo in the Kentucky Derby last year, but has really taken to short course racing in the United States. Will be one of the leaders. There is a bit of pressure there, but I think the horse is able to sustain it and do what he did in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and that's hold on. Reasonable sort of price, I think. Triniberg around sort of $8, $9, $10 overseas. Okay. Well, I noticed you both left out Krypton Factor in your selections. I didn't. I'm hoping perhaps we can see a glimpse of what he did last year in the race. He was, of course, the winner of the Dubai Golden Shaheen as we take this break.
Racing in the Dubai Golden Shaheen. Sepoy began well, and so did Krypton Factor. First quarter, a scorching 23.8. Happy Dubai behind them from Krypton Factor.